Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking our favorite little yellow guys on an adventure they'll never forget. Buckle up! Because the Minions are going on a road trip. Their destination, the one and only Las Vegas, baby. Picture this. Kevin at the wheel, Stuart on navigation oar, trying to be and Bob in the back. Already dreaming of all the bananas Vegas has to offer. They've got their tiny suitcases packed, the music is blasting, and the open road is calling their name. What could possibly go wrong? Well, if you know the Minions, you know that what could go wrong is basically their life's motto. Somewhere between a heated debate over which way the map was supposed to be held and an unscheduled stop to chase a particularly fluffy butterfly, they took a wrong turn. A very, very wrong turn. The bright lights of the Vegas Strip faded from their GPS, replaced by a single, dusty road stretching into the middle of nowhere. The landscape changed from bustling highways to desolate plains. The sun began to set, casting long, spooky shadows across the desert. They were officially, completely, and hilariously lost. Just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, a loud pop-hiss sound echoed through the car. Yep. You guessed it, a flat tire! Kevin slammed on the brakes, sending Bob and his half-eaten banana flying. They all piled out of the car, staring at the sad, deflated rubber. Stuart gave it a good kick, which only resulted in him hopping around on one foot. They were stranded. No cars, no people, just the wind whistling through the cacti. But then, through the twilight haze, Kevin spotted something of faint, flickering light in the distance. A town. Or, at least, what was left of one. With a collective shrug and a determined bellow, they began their long walk, pushing the broken-down car towards the mysterious town. The sign at the entrance was old and creaky, with most of the letters missing. It might have said, "Welcome to Harmony Gulch," or maybe something. The town was eerily quiet. Wooden buildings with boarded-up windows lined a single dusty streets. Tumbleweeds, the classic sign of a deserted place, rolled by as if on cue. It looked like a ghost town straight out of an old Western movie, and our little yellow heroes were walking right into the heart of it. Their mission was find a repair shop, fix the tire, and get back on the road to Vegas. They peeked into the old saloon, where dusty bottles still lined the shelves. They checked the abandoned hotel, its lobby frozen in time. The silence was the spookiest part. Every creak of a floorboard, every rustle of the wind sounded like a ghost whispering, "Booyah!" Bob naturally started seeing spooky shapes in every shadow, clinging tightly to Kevin's leg. Stuart, trying to act brave, puffed out his chest and marched forward, but you could see his single eye darting around nervously. Finally, at the very end of the street, they found it, a rundown garage with a faded sign that said "Auto Repair." Success! Or was it? They pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The air was thick with the smell of old oil and dust. Tools were scattered everywhere as if the mechanic had just vanished mid-job. "Bellow," Kevin called out, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. "No answer. Turariroti. I-A-A-M-O," Bob whispered, hoping a sweet nothing would summon someone. Still nothing. The place was completely deserted. Just as they were about to give up hope, a sudden, loud clang echoed from the back of the shop. All three Minions jumped a foot in the air. Their eyes went wide. They weren't alone. Kevin, being the brave leader he is, grabbed a giant wrench, holding it like a sword. Stuart armed himself with a tire iron. And Bob hid behind a stack of old tires, clutching his teddy bear. Tim? They tiptoed slowly towards the source of the noise, their little hearts pounding like drum solos. Every shadow seemed to morph into a monstrous figure. A coat, hanging on a hook, looked like a lurking phantom. As they rounded a corner, they saw Ita, shadowy figure, hunched over in the darkness. Stuart let out a terrified shriek and swung his tire iron wildly. Kevin charged forward with a battle cry. The figure turned, and in the dim light, they saw a raccoon with a shiny hubcap stuck on its head, frantically trying to shake it off. The raccoon, more scared of them than they were of it, finally freed itself and scurried out through a broken window. The minions stood there, panting, looking at each other before bursting into relieved laughter. Their first ghost was just a furry bandit. Feeling a little braver, they decided to explore the rest of the shop. They needed to find a spare tire. As Bob was rummaging through a pile of junk, a long, white sheet draped over a car suddenly started to move. It rose up, forming a ghostly shape that floated towards them, moaning softly. Woo! Oh! 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 Dot! Dot! Double quotes! This time, they were sure it was a real ghost! The three of them huddled together, trembling. But Kevin, remembering his leadership duties, had an idea. He spotted a nearby industrial fan. With a heroic leap, he flipped the switch to full blast. The gust of wind hit the ghost head-on, sending the sheet flying across the room. And underneath, a dozen cats who had been having a nap on the warm car engine, now looking very grumpy about being woken up. They hissed, stretched, and sauntered away as if nothing had happened. The moaning sound had just been the wind whistling through a broken pipe. Crisis averted. Ghost number 2 debunked. The minions were getting good at this. They were less like scaredy cats and more like, well, scaredy minions who were surprisingly effective ghostbusters. They finally found a tire that looked like it might fit their tiny car. Now they just needed to get it on. As they rolled the tire towards the entrance, the main garage door, which had been wide open, suddenly slammed shut with a deafening bang, plunging them into near total darkness. Panic set in. Stuart started running in circles. Kevin was trying to find the door handle, and Bob just sat down and started to cry. From the rafters above, they heard a creepy, cackling laugh. It echoed through the garage, sounding truly evil. This was it. This had to be the real deal. But Kevin wasn't going down without a fight. He spotted a dangling chain and started to climb. Stuart, seeing his brother's bravery, followed suit, climbing a nearby shelf. Bob, seeing them both ascending, decided to find his own path. He saw a rope and, with a running start, swung across the room like a tiny, yellow Tarzan, letting out his own version of a jungle cry. He crashed right into the source of the cackling old parrot in a cage, who had learned to mimic the laugh from an old cartoon playing on a forgotten radio. The parrot, startled, squawked, and fell off its perch. With the final ghost identified, a wave of relief washed over them. They managed to pry open the garage door and rolled their new tire out into the moonlight. Working together, they jacked up the car, swapped the tires, and were finally ready to go. They were greasy, dusty, and a little spooked, but they had survived the ghost town of Harmony Gulch. As they drove away, they gave one last look back at the creepy, quiet town. It wasn't so scary now. It was just ... empty. They honked the horn a final time. A cheerful that echoed in the night. A farewell to the raccoons, the cats, and the cackling parrot. The road to Vegas was back on. Maybe they'd have better luck there. And that's the story of the Minions' scariest road trip ever. It just goes to show that sometimes the things that scare us the most are just products of our own imagination. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that spooky adventure, make sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. We'll see you next time. Bye!